Well, good morning. I was fiddling around, and I bought some new headphones the other day. And when I was in the store, I saw some that had supposedly had cloth cords. I really liked the look of those, but I didn't care for the headphones. And these are, this is the cord off of my headphones that I bought. It has a jack up at the headphone end, and you can just pull that off. And I get to thinking about that, and years ago I used to make cloth covered cords you could buy shoelaces, and you could cut the tips off and then stretch it over there, and you could cover. It was a replacement for old cloth covered speaker wires, what it was. Anyway, I was sitting there and I was jacking around, and I was thinking, maybe I could squeeze this. This is what they call paracord. Now, this may not be true paracord. True paracord has two pieces of cord. What paracord is it's the down leads or the shroud leads for a parachute, and it's a inner cord or inner string that's woven. I don't know if you can see that real easily. You can see that there are a number of little threads there that are kind of, there we go, they're all woven. They're technically, I believe, supposed to be 7. So what do we got here? Let's see how many are in there. There's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There might, well, what do we got there? There might be 8 in there, but you can see that that's kind of woven together. And then there's an outer protective sheath that's woven over that. And you can get this at most of the camping goods stores, although the true paracord you might have to hunt around for. Now, I did see some up at one of the home centers that was like 10 cents a foot, and they had a lot of colors, which really surprised me. So this is just a cord and a cord, and I don't know if this is going to work or not. You can take the guts out of this by just pulling it, and it's just a sheath, and you just skin it off of there. This is one of the reasons people like paracord is it's multi-purpose. Now I've got a string here. I've actually got 7 or 8 strings. This stuff is damn strong. Now I don't know if I can do this. One way to do this would be to snip this in somewhere and splice it all back together. Although this jack is pretty damn small, I was wondering if I could squeeze that in there. And I don't think I'm going to be able to. Nah, it doesn't. Well, maybe. It might. I don't know. It doesn't look like it. Darn it. Well, it was an idea anyway. If that jack was a little smaller, I might be able to get that over that. Like I said, you could cut this cord and do that. If you were doing this on some headphones, you could buy a new end and just cut that off, push that cord over it, and then solder the new end back on. It just isn't big enough. It's not going to work. It's too bad. I bet if I worked at that a while, it might go on there. I don't know. It's going to be a pretty hard fit. Yeah, it's just not going to... It's just about ready to go on, but not quite. And the end is fraying. Now, a shoestring would work, and you could... in case you didn't know, you can use this stuff as shoestrings. It's one of the other reasons these are kind of, multi-function. Oh well, it was an idea. Dang, I had some high hopes of that sliding over there. What I was going to do is slide that over there, and then maybe secure it. Or one of the other things you could do, might be a bit of a stretch, is you might be able to to kind of dampen that end with super glue and then trim it with scissors. I don't know. It's still useful. Just isn't going to stretch over that end. That end is just big enough to stop it. Oh well. Well, we're back. Still disappointed about that headphone thing. I thought, well, you know what? There's always more than one way to skin a cat. This would be if you just went ahead and cut the lead off the end. Now, before you go chopping the end off your $300 headphones, you might want to think about that real hard. Like I said, you could get a shoelace, and it would have to be this tubular type. You'll have to look at the packaging. I'm just going to show you real quickly here what I originally had intended. And this is just a piece of wire. And originally, I was intended just to slide that on there. Actually, that curve isn't doing this any good. This is some really stiff, crummy wire, but we'll give her the old college try. You can see that it's hollow, and you just kind of start snaking that on there. Now, eventually, you get to the point where you can't pull that on anymore. But if you push it like this, bunch it up, it'll kind of keep going down there, and you can feel where the wire isn't and where it is. You can just keep kind of scooching it along too. And this doesn't take a long time. You just sit down in front of the old idiot box while you're doing this. Mind your own business. Not sure how long this piece of wire is. Probably about this paracord is probably about 3 foot long. The wire is quite a bit longer. You can see I'm just bunching it up there. Now there is a little bit of there's kind of a little snag in there where I trimmed that wire. If you make sure that isn't in there, it'll go a lot faster. It's kind of catching on the inside of that cloth. No big deal. You just keep scooching along there. You can see we've already got about, there's about half of it. Actually, the lighter you hold this stuff, the faster it'll go. I'm kind of twisting that too. Like I said, there's a little bit of a snag on the end of that wire. Let's see if I can smoosh that out. It's getting down there. You just keep, the further down it gets, the more you're going to have to comb it down that way. But for the most part, it'll just bunch up here and you can just keep shoving it down. The thing you could do is you could cut that cord, your wire. You could cut it on the bias. What I mean by that is you could cut it on the diagonal. You know, here it's just you can see it's kind of got some edges there. If you cut it like that probably will make it a lot easier. And don't be afraid to cut it. You know, trim the edges multiple times, make kind of a nice little point. You just keep scrunching along there. It's getting pretty far down. Now if you just nip off the end of your connector, you know, you'd have a raw end. You can solder that on there. There's plenty of soldering videos. I'm not going to bother reproducing that. Now be aware that the wire in those headphones is pretty flexible, and there's a reason. It is made out of one of two methods. One method is there are individual strands of wire, and they're colored, and each strand is enameled. So there's kind of a red strand, a green strand, and maybe a blue strand. You'll have to kind of experiment a little bit and figure that out. Now, if you lop the plug right off on the end, it won't help you as much as if you lop, maybe a few inches past the plug, and you can strip that off and use a voltmeter and a continuity tester to kind of figure out what the wires are to put it back. Typical headphones, old typical headphones are what they call tip, ring, and sleeve. There's a center, and then there's a ring, and then there's a shield. The newer ones are what they call tip, ring, and sleeve. They have a microphone built into them. They'll have more wires. So you just keep shoving that. We're about done. Just keep scooching that along, and scooching along. I'm pretty close. We're getting to the end there. Probably would have went faster if I'd have cut it on the bias. There you go. Now you can scrunch all that down there. And there you go. Now, before you go sealing this all up, what you might want to do to keep that on there would be put a piece of heat shrink on there. You can get heat shrink at the automotive store, the crummy, kind of the crummy dollar tool store. You could also, if you're very careful and very good, you could put a piece of tape on there. I have on occasion, when I'm feeling very bored and very fiddly, taken and put with little dabs of super glue on there, and then you can trim this all back. The heat shrink works pretty good though. You can get a nice little covering there, and sometimes you can either put the heat shrink just over the woven part or put it over the woven and the socket, or the little plug, excuse me. Then you're gonna kind of comb that all back. And if this is the end up at the headphones, you'll do that. Don't forget to put your heat shrink, whatever you're using, on there before you put the plug on, because you'll be a little bit grumpy if you forget. Same thing on this end. You would cut this all back. You could seal this up ahead of time. If you get a plug on this end, like for your media player, whatever, this goes inside the hood, you may just need to put a little bit of heat shrink around there, or some tape. If you're careful, just take your time. Don't get in a hurry. And like I said, you think about this real hard before you go chopping up a $100 pair of headphones. Actually, my suggestion is you go buy a $1 pair of headphones and practice this one or two times, and get your technique down. But there you go. It's you can't see it real well on there. I'll try and take a close-up look. Excuse me a little bit today. The sun's out and I can't see what I'm doing here very well. But it gives the cord kind of a nice, kind of a cloth finish. And you can treat this end how you want. You might even be able to put some other glue on there, or some wax, or you can secure it however you want, and it would make it look probably a headphone cord is going to be way more flexible than this iron crap. But that's just a little quick idea what I was going to do to those headphones. Actually, what I think I'm going to do is I'll go get a new cord. Those headphones, those are like skull candy headphones, is what they actually came off of. Oh well, there goes my video. They just have an actual, like a 1/8 inch to 1/8 inch tip, ring, and sleeve cord. It's just an extension. I can go get a cheap one and chop it up for $2 or $3. So there you go. How to put some paracord and give your media headphones kind of a cool, hip look. There are other colors of this stuff, not just black. So there you go. Have a groovy day.